At the end of every unit, your teacher has the chance to teach a lesson about other lessons and their context to enhance. But what do you suppose a teacher has us do? He skips the lesson, makes us present a digital LEQ. Elocution is historical evidence, reasoning that can corroborate and advance a complex thesis Dr. P. Irish would admire. Then we drop the screencast like a single F5. Student created screencast for you to like and subscribe and share. We know you've all had John Green and Steve Hellmeyer. You can bet. If we have the most views by 10 p.m. Eastern. On the 5th day, we earned 500 bonus points, which virtually guarantees an A without much more fanware and ado. We present our digital.
Hello, my name is Luis Garcia, and I'll be your narrator for this video. I present to you our AP Modern World History Digital LEQ. Our topic will focus on analyzing and comparing the differing responses of indigenous peoples of the Americas and Africa to Western imperialism between 1750 through 1900. In our thesis, we believe that the expansion of Western imperialism affected both indigenous people in Africa and America in multiple ways that left long-term impacts. However, culture wasn't affected as much in the Americas. Therefore, the indigenous people of Africa were affected more culturally than those in America. Here are some questions to think about throughout the video. At the end of the video, these questions will come up and you'll be given time to answer. So take a moment now to pause the video and read. As you can see, the first piece of evidence we have is a map of Africa. What's significant about this map is that it shows a comparison of how Africa was divided by the European countries over time. As you can see, the spread of some European countries increased and some decreased. This was the result of the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference was a meeting where the European powers discussed who can control certain parts of Africa. The interesting part of this is that the natives that lived in Africa had no input in this conference. Our second piece of evidence consists of a painting. The painting illustrates a battle among a combination of Native Americans and European powers. This battle was part of the French and Indian War. The French were trying to expand their control of North America until they reached the Ohio River Valley. This is where they met Britain and fought for the control of North America. Different Native American tribes formed alliances between the two European powers. They sided with a group that they thought would treat them better. The third piece of evidence is a photo that was taken in the French Congo. The picture shows a caravan holding ivory. If you don't know, ivory comes from elephant tusks. Europeans used Africans to popularize the colonial venture with not only ivory, but other materials such as rubber and minerals. In the eyes of the Europeans, Africans were inferior compared to them, so they tried to convert their religion to Christianity. Evidence 4 is a quote from History.com. The quote states, Ottawa Chief Pontiac leads Native American forces into battle against the British in Detroit. The British retaliated by attacking Pontiac's warriors in Detroit on July 31st, in what is known as the Battle of Bloody Run. Pontiac and company successfully fend them off, but there are several casualties on both sides. Towards the end of the French and Indian War, the Native Americans fought the British because they were also pushing to imperialize the natives. The outcome was that the natives successfully fended them off with a sacrifice of heavy casualties. Last but not least, we have our fifth piece of evidence. Evidence 5 consists of a quote from Vladimir Lenin's book called Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. The quote says, when 9/10 of Africa had been seized by 1900, when the whole world had been divided up, there was inevitably ushered in the era of monopoly possession of colonies and, consequently, of particularly intense struggle for the division and the redivision of the world. Vladimir Lenin is explaining that imperialism was a fundamental part in the development of Europe and Africa. These European countries will try to do anything in their power to control as much property as they can obtain and capitalize on resources. Evidence 2, 3, and 4 are all very important to comprehend. A takeaway from evidence 2 is that the French and Indian War was a battle among the French, British, and Native Americans. Understanding this better explains how European rivalry was a big part of imperialism. Evidence 3 takeaways are that European powers were extremely dominant against the Africans, and they believed that Africans were inferior to them. They have colonized their countries and coerced them into labor and Christianity. A takeaway from evidence 4 is that Native Americans didn't want to be pushed around by these European powers. Okay, so now you are more informed compared to the start of the video. You can now answer these questions. Question 1. What are some things that the indigenous people of Africa can do to fight against imperialism without bloodshed? Question 2. How did the indigenous people in the Americas react to imperialism? Question 3. What were the main countries to imperialize both the American and African people, and why? Pause the video now to answer these questions. Question 1. This question can vary. The actual way the Africans tried to fight against imperialism without bloodshed was to stop trade with Europeans. They tried to prevent missionaries from staying with them. Some Africans continued to trade with Europeans but tried to keep them at a distance politically. Question 2. The Native Americans decided they wanted to fight against the Europeans. Question 3. The main European countries are Britain and France, but there are also other countries like Germany, Portugal, Italy, Spain, and Belgium. Africa was a good place to earn a lot of money and for trading purposes, so people would try to get their hands on the land as quickly as possible. In America, the Europeans wanted to control more land to gain more power. Thank you for watching our digital LEQ. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a nice day.